Good morning. Today's the day that I go and walk the land, take a look at what I bought, 30 acres that I'm responsible for. So this is the morning. I think I'm all ready. I'm gonna go get some coffee and get things around. So I packed the car last night. I'm doing all of this with a little Camaro at the moment because trucks are hard to get apparently. So I was told when I ordered my truck it'll be 6 months. So I went to the factory website and found something that wasn't 6 months off and put a down payment on it. So we'll see when that comes in. But the first couple of months it's just going to be me and a little Camaro and maybe deliveries. I don't have a 911 address out on the property yet, so it'll take me a little bit to get that and get deliveries put out there. But today is just walking the land, learning where the water runs, learning where the cattle run, learning where the fence will run, and selecting the build site, because the first project of the 1,000-year homes is a workshop. And then from there I can go on and build the other projects that'll be larger. Saying goodbye this morning to Reggie, my little buddy. This is where his current home is. He runs up there. You see all a 1,000-year home, and then you see I've got a cardboard pet door he comes in and out of. He prefers outside mostly, especially when it's cold. I like this little apartment complex. The people here are kind. Pretty good one. A little noisy for me, but I do enjoy it. Bend a minute on that mow. Quite an operation Rabbit's got going on. He loves parsley and cilantro. Give him parsley and cilantro, and that stuff is buzzed down. A heartbeat. There's my noisy environment. Little moof. It's a little moof. He wants me to scritch his nose. I'm getting ready to head out. Just love me, love me. Oh, he's gonna come through his little door. All right, I'll scritch your nose. I'll scritch it. Scritch, 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 scritch. Scritch, 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 scritch. Silly thing. But he's not gonna pass on his breakfast. Well, we have a 110-mile drive here that I've condensed down into about 25 seconds. So you'll start out in your typical Texas urban environment, and real quickly gets to less and less urban and more and more country until there are no cars left. It's just me and a dirt road and a fence. All right. I'm officially here after an hour and 15 minutes in the world's most inappropriate construction vehicle. Little Camaro. I need a truck. Oh, that's the gate. We'll take a look here, see what I got packed in today. Let's see. Oh yeah, I got my grandson the construction tools. I'm going to build a whole house based on that. Let's see, I brought my Jackery today so I could charge up my cameras. I was going to bring a weed whacker, but it's out of string. All right, so that's this part of the Camaro. What did I get in back here? Oh, foldable wagon, a couple of chairs, a working table, and then all the wood equipment that I'll need. Axes and saws, and I've got all the measuring tapes in there, and a wheel measurer. Got my drones. Yep. Well, I'm speeding up the film a little bit here.
narrating. So the first thing I did when I got inside is took a look at the grass to see if I could even park that Camaro anywhere up in there. And each place I'm pausing, there's a marker the surveyor put in the ground for the fencemen. So each one of those 350 foot. So you can see that I'm disappearing there in the distance pretty fast. 1,000 feet or so out there in the future. First time of myself walking the land. Of course, I did with the realtor a couple of times, and the owner showed me what was going on. But this little section is 28 foot wide from fence to those posts that the surveyor put in, and that's part of the parcel. So the road I'm on is just an old road that changed when they changed the county roads. I don't know, in the 1900s, 1861, somewhere in there. So then what you're seeing there is used to be road right there where the Camaro's parked. Used to be road. In fact, the older gentleman I met, Ted, at the corner of the property, told me his father pulled oilmen out of that very same road with mules when the oilmen came and got stuck many years ago. Let's see, he was 80 some odd years, so 70 years plus years ago. And when I did that walk, I ran into the first obstacle. That's an oak tree, and for me to get the high cubes through and load that, I'm going to have to cut it. But it won't even clear my Camaro, so I've got to do a little work there on that particular branch.
It's the first stake. I'm going to guess that they're a tenth of a mile apart, but I'm not sure. There's a second stake. I'm all zoomed out. There's a third one way up there. I'm going to drive my Camaro and try to park it up there at the top of the hill. I'll do measure that and then get my stick and come back. Alright, put that camera right where one of the survey pins are for the driveway. This is the second post pin. Again, they look like a tenth of a mile apiece. You cut down those limbs. See how high up I can reach. That's a little bit of a stretch. put salve on all those so oak beetles don't get in there. Yeah, those are 4-inch oak limbs. So this samurai saw does a very fine job. I think my Camaro can clear now. Alright, I just unloaded the Camaro. Again, the world's most inappropriate construction vehicle. Now I have to be careful where I park the Camaro. You'll notice I parked it on shorn grass. There's burn bans, and vehicles like this run pretty hot. Catalytic converters near down. So I wouldn't leave it idle on anywhere out here. But let's see what the Camaro did today. Brought me basic yard tools. I wanted to have a shovel and a weed trimmer in there, but I couldn't fit that. Got my jackery for the day, the drone, a work surface, loppers, my camera gear, pull behind wagon, a little tiny something for my little guy so he can help me build. I brought Thor, son of thunder. I don't know if you can see that, son of thunder, with me. A couple of chairs. I've got a change of clothes, a multi-station ladder. Side of my outdoor tote is everything I'll be needing today. A curry knife with a saw at the top, hammer, measuring, string, a couple of different axes, a samurai saw. That'll be excellent for that. So I'm going to walk the fence line here to the back and follow it around. Make sure none of the fence is down. If it is, I'll identify it. I'm not going to pull tools this time. That'll be too much hard work. These hay fields look pretty easy walking. Once I'm done walking those, find a spot. I think I could park the Camaro. As you can see, it's not a four-wheel drive. And I don't want to park it on the hay. So I'll look for a spot of dirt that I think I can get out of that won't be Texas mud. So I'm not going to pull any tools though under my little wagon. Well, I haven't measured these hay fields yet, but it looks like they're divided equally. This fence is a good fence here. And then, of course, some of the deal here is for me to learn where the water runs. And I can easily see that there's a depression here that runs in the back corner and around this little cluster of oak trees and down into that. Now this fence is very fine, but I can already see that fence has got some trees over it, so I'll take a look at that. And then there's two openings in the paddock there that are service openings, and I'll need to see what I'm going to do with that. I haven't decided yet. And over there's the Camaro. I don't know if you can even see it in the video. Quite a ways away, and probably an 8-acre field, I'm gonna guess. But overall, this hay field is not my preferred place to build. I want to keep the hay fields making hay for a while. If anything, I'll turn that one into an orchard, and then I'll move this way. But there would be a build site in the middle. My idea is right about where the Camaro is to have a little service roundabout, or maybe a salute to Texas, the Gonzales cannon, replicas of the Alamo. Not big, just little things that would say Texas, maybe a flagpole. And then cut through there. There's a stock tank in the next field. We'll go and visit the gate. Now this fence line here is in trouble. Posts are good, but it looks like a lot of the wires down. So I'll walk that and we'll find out. I see a little game trail here and through the fence. Let's see if I can pinch zoom out. Coyotes or some such. Rather substantial. I'll put a little game camera here when I get done. Find out what they're all going to, which is probably that stock tank that's out there, which is a sizable stock tank. A little armadillo run, maybe. I don't know what's in there. I don't see any drop-ins, but I'm going to guess an armadillo. I'll leave him be just along the fence line. I could care less. There's some cattle out there. So far, this fence line is better than I thought. The cattle have only leaned on the top strand, and I'm just going to leave it loose mostly. Too much hard work to stretch it out. The other strands are pretty good. And then the service entrances there and there, I'll think about what to do with those. All right, and this is where the fence ends up. I'm going to guess that there's, without measuring, maybe 110 feet between here and where the survey lines are. There's a pole there. There's my Camaro. Made a big circuit around this field. Walk the next field. When I'm done with it, I'll look for a place down over there by the cattle to park my Camaro. If I find a little spot that I think is safe and not muddy. So I don't have a laser survey equipment out here today. I'll do that later, but I mentioned earlier about figuring out where the water runs, because I don't want to build where there's water running. So behind me is a stock pond, and if I look real careful, it looks like all of this area here, maybe there's a 10-foot drop from the end of that paddock over to here through this service gate, and then you can see kind of a dip in the land there that goes right to that stock pond. So naturally I wouldn't build anything in that area, and it goes right through this drive. And I don't really want the drive to be driving through where all the water runs and the mud. It won't matter much, but you got to build it up and put in culverts and things like that. So I might redirect the drive just to cut through, go over the top on the high ground, and cut back in. Not where the combines have been running. All right, so now I'm going to walk this little paddock that has the stock pond in it. And I know that fence in the tree line's absolutely down. So it's awfully quiet out here. The only thing I can hear is my own 2 feet. So I'm walking, ran across this coyote skull, I'm going to guess. Oh, here. I'm walking the other side of the paddock now. I saw some, I don't know, killdeer maybe out there running away from me. Cattle are by the stock tank, and now I'm going to finish up walking that. Well, I found the fences all the way down. I don't know why the cattle are even bothering staying put. They're probably getting out into there too. I see some hoof prints, deer it looks like, but no reason why the cattle wouldn't run that way. Animal thoroughfare of wet goodness probably when it rains. Right now we're at a weakest January in a long time drought level in Texas. We normally, I think, have about 14 inches, and we've had 1.4, so 10% of what we're expecting. No fence at all. I am mystified why these cattle are not free roaming, and I'm sure they are. Oh, I see, maybe the neighbor has a fence there. Looky. There's a fence just 40 feet in. When I get with the survey, I will definitely take a look. Maybe this river is on my side. I don't know where the survey pins are. I haven't seen a post. But this is the neighbor property here. Well, that explains it. Go that far in. And, 50 foot in through the wet weather river and all those trees. And you find a fence. So the cattle do cut over, I bet. Graze over here too. So you can always tell a male cedar because of the yellow pollen pods. So I'm going to cut most of the males down and use them for building the house. I'm just going to keep following this arroyo down and see if I can come out. The fence is back up, so this might be a bad idea. I have to turn around and come back. We'll find out. Found another pile of bones out here. I'm gonna guess deer, probably. I haven't really looked for a skull, but I'm at the corner end of the property, and you can see the water runs down through here, and then if I go back around here, it's getting pretty fast. So go down in the little arroyo. See the cattle come visit down in here too. I see their tree roots slowing things down. Probably a 6 foot, 7 foot ravine carved there. Find out where that ends up. So the water's running there now. So it's coming out of this hayfield. 2 directions, there and there. Cattle coming to visit. And as I suspected, the fence is just hit and miss, almost entirely down as we go into the half wooded. So there's 15 acres, and then this 15 acres will be confusing because it's heavily wooded: oak, post oak, white oak, live oak, and then a ton of juniper and cedar. So we'll walk over, take a look at that stock pond. The cattle suspect that I'm going to give them some food. Look at them mosey over here. That's not happening. No food for you. This might be the most interesting oak I've run into. It looked like it split down the middle a long, long time ago. Dropped half of it, but I'm going to guess that that's live. We will see later on. Moo. I say moo. Oh, that's the only one that I got to be careful. He is not going to like that. No. Use your common sense. I'll eat you. Look, he's a bull. That's what he's all about. Trying out his horns without no horns. Now I won't be able to look away from him. Let me try that stock pond without you running me down. How about that? Buddy? Moo. So I decided to give this little bull his room. I'm going to step on the other side of that fence and see whether or not I can make it. Since they're all so curious. I'm carrying some water, and they seem to be very curious on that water. So we'll find out how far I get. Now he's a small one, but full of it. But that guy, I'm not going to mess with that guy. I'm going to leave him alone. Go around him a little bit. Maybe they'll get used to me eventually. Well, I'm pretty happy. The big guy let me pass. I didn't have to cross over. Gotta keep looking behind me, making sure the little bull doesn't run me down. He was not having it. Oh, look at there, a little yearling, probably. Mama. So that's my goal right there, the stock tank. He seems to be leaving me alone, so off I go. All right, I made it to the muddy stock tank. I'm going to guess every bit of 70 feet across, 40 feet wide. When I asked, I was told that might even be 10 feet deep. Eventually, what I'm going to do is put the appropriate filtration on it. See how clear I can make this muddy Texas water. Of course, down here in Texas, you know, we have to drink out of muddy cow hooves. That's how we survive. It's tough, but that's a pretty good looking stock tank. Let me hold the camera steadier. It's a pretty good looking stock tank considering there hasn't been much rain. And when I did it looks like I could put in another stock tank maybe over there. Won't go too crazy. And then I could see there's a drop in the property over there. So I'm going to guess it gets real wet along there. And probably back in there I could put a stock tank. Well, I might add another couple of stock tanks. That will be far off. So my goal is 1,000-year home. And so the very first thing that 1,000 years will start with will be the property. I'll be gone. The houses could fall down, but the property will still be here. So I'm going to try to do my best to leave behind a legacy, prune up the oak trees, plant some natives, return the pasture as much as possible to forest farming, Texas figs and Texas persimmons and pecans and things like that up in here. It is so quiet here, y'all. Quiet. So I'm gonna go get my Camaro, find a spot I could park it. So right now I mentioned the rain, there is innocent. So if you park a low slung car, the catalytic converter over the top of grass, you'll catch Texas on fire and burn the whole darn place down, which isn't what I want to do. So I'm gonna walk about, see if I can find a little spot there I feel safe enough. If not, I'll leave the Camaro up where it is.
Well, that finishes up the first 15 acres that I walked, the 2 hay fields. So in the little overhead view, you can see the route that I took up the driveway around the oak tree. The little yellow square represents where I left the Camaro. I went all the way to the end of the property and I turned. That was a solid fence towards the north. That east fence is gone all the way down. And that arroyo gets pretty deep and fast and eventually runs into a creek that's nearby. But so then I followed the fence line there and back again and ran into those armadillo holes. And I'll put up some trail cameras. That'll be loads of fun. Then turned back and went back into the arroyo, back to the end of the property. Found a coyote skull in that back corner. Found the deer bones in that corner. And there was where I was attacked by that little bull. He just wasn't having me. Drove me right off the pasture. I had to go around him. And the big one that's been around a few years, he didn't care less. But anyway, finally they let me pass and went and saw the stock tank. And once we get a little bit of rain, that'll be a good looking tank. It'll fill right back up. It's pretty deep as it is, even in the drought. And then I walked down to the end where the 15 acres of Cedar Thicket starts. So this video is getting a little long, so I decided to go ahead and cut it off here. But it took me a couple hours to walk just that part. So, you're seeing 4 hours of work in 27 minutes or so. And then next week I've got some pictures of the cedar that we'll be in, and it's thick. It's thick. So I'm wandering around over here. I'm looking for a site, right? Someplace I can build a house. So that's my goal. And the woods were always what I was looking into. So that thicket next week, maybe I'll get it done this week. I'll put up the second half of this day work, and then you can see what site I selected out of the 15 acres of hay or the 15 acres of wood. No spoiler there. I guarantee it's going to be the woods.